Hi, welcome to Meet the Wuan Show. Here we will guide you with tips and ideas in terms of how you can start business early. So every episode we will invite a guest speaker, which is an entrepreneur or a business owner, that he can share with you how he runs his business and also his entrepreneurship journey, so we can learn from them. Now today we are very happy to invite Voon Fei. He is the owner of Northern Light Studio, an award-winning company. So what he does marketing and advertising. And today he's going to share a lot of insights when it comes to his industry. So first, I think maybe we'll get Voon Fei to introduce himself, and also when did you start your first journey when it comes to business, or even when do you start having exposure to your current industry?
I feel like I've been in this industry since forever. I've been running my own business, Northern Light Studio, for about 8 years now. I'm actually into this industry way before. That's why I say it feels like been forever. Because it all starts from when I was really, really young, like at the age of even 6 years old and
Wow,
before.
6 years old.
I still remember.
Did I hear wrong? 6 years old?
Yes, though my memories are pretty much faded already, but I actually have a sketchbook, so I've seen my drawings back then. So I knew whatever I'm doing today, it all starts from that time. I'm a creative person, so I think my parents realized that I have a thing for art, music. So I was at the very young age, I was exposed to, I go to art class, I take music lessons. And then at some point, because the technology becomes popular, so I start to also learn about technology like computer. I learned Microsoft at the age of like 7. Microsoft at that point is a thing, there's actually classes to teach you how to use Microsoft programs. I think since then, I think I've this combining tech skill, tech knowledge, and arts knowledge. It slowly evolved to, because my nature is like, I want to keep on exploring. I think this happens to a lot of creative people. You keep on want to explore. The world is so big. You want to keep on tap into new things. And that's when I started jumping from graphic design, jumping to doing a web, and jumping to taking photographs. From photographs evolved to videographs. And videographs, I didn't stop there, even taking videos. Then I went deep into the editing process. At that point of time, there was this movie very popular, Matrix, the slow motion bullet. And I went there and learned how to do that kind of thing. That is when I realized these things called visual effects. And that slowly led me to what I studied in college, which is animation. I graduated as a diploma in animation because I love filmmaking a lot, but I also want to master the visual effects. At that time, popular movies like Avatar, Transformers, Matrix was a big thing in visual effects industry. That has led me to learning animation in college. And soon after that, after graduating from college, that is when I start my entrepreneurship journey. Many people ask why you went into entrepreneurship and not, go into some big studios like go to America, Disney, Pixar at that time. Because my passion is not really in animation. My passion is really in filmmaking. I realized that filmmaking is a very big thing. That is a lot of things to explore. So, and me being possessed so many skills, I don't want to, tie to a position and just do that one thing. I would like to, be able to do so many things because I just passionate in all these things. Hence, I started my entrepreneurship 8 years ago.
I can hear, graphic design, okay, to videography, to photography, and then go into filmmaking, and then animation, and like what the last one is entrepreneurship, right? So which is being a business owner. Wow, that's, you see the where we connect the dots. It's quite long for Voon Fei.
It's quite a journey, but at the end of the day, it's still, I think it boils down back to the creative, my passion in creative stuff. Entrepreneurship is just a vehicle for me to do what I love and make a living out of it.
Okay, so I think here, which one of my question is, I really, really want to know. So for all entrepreneurs, right, there is this very memorable journey, or maybe a memorable story, a memorable lesson that you have learned throughout doing business. Either, it can be a good experience, can be a very maybe not so good experience, but that actually impacts how you do things. So I would love Voon Fei to share one story or one lesson that it's very significant, and you learn something from it. So I think that would be very good for audience to understand, especially when it comes to creative industry.
I think what we're sharing with you doesn't just apply to creative industry. And it being memorable means it's actually started from a very negative situation. Okay, usually all the memorable things is when you cry, when you're sad, or you feel extreme,
disappointed.
Either it's to that extreme negative or to the extreme positive, like you're super joyful, your tears of joy. So that this particular memorable moment that I would like to share is, it begins with a negative thing. Like through entrepreneurship journey, me being a creative person, which is the things that I do are very hands-on. But when it comes to running a business or growing a business, sometimes you need to let go. You need to be standing at a different position and oversee the business. You can't be doing things and at the same time growing the business. It just doesn't work the way you want it to be. Okay, let's just put it that way. Very big obstacle I have is I do not possess business skills. Okay, coming from a creative person.
And what do you mean by you do not possess business skills?
Business skill can be many things, right? What I'm referring business skills in this case, I'm referring to how to do negotiation, sales. Okay. As an entrepreneur, this is one thing you got to communicate.
Yes. How do you negotiate?
You got to make people buy you. You got to convince somebody. Sometimes, no matter how great of an artist you are, sometimes the work cannot do all the talking. You as the creator, you got to communicate what's so great about your work. They say a picture says 1,000 words. That's half true. When I started this entrepreneurship journey, the business skill I'm referring is actually a lot of this to do with sales, negotiation, how to do bargain, or how to do marketing. How do you market the works that you thought is great, and how do you transfer that confidence or that feeling that you have on your work? How do you transfer that to the person you're talking to? So these are very important skills in entrepreneurship journey, and I totally suck at those things.
I agree with what you mean. If I'm not in creative industry, I don't think the picture will speak to me. I'll be like, okay, so what's so special about this, right? You have to explain to me, because I'm not in the creative industry. I would want to understand in the more layman terms.
Exactly, because you know what's so great about it, but to normal people, which could be your customers, they may not have that kind of knowledge as you do. So you really got to learn how to communicate that. My journey, I realized that is a very important skill to have. No matter how great you are, if you can't communicate what's so great about one thing, you basically can't sell that thing.
So how to communicate your value, your services to the world. Maybe we come back to a bit, okay, so you find out that is your hardest goal. How did you overcome it?
Number one, never stop learning. People say when you're out in the society, when you're out there, out from school, everything you do is experience, and the things that you learn throughout the journey, it becomes your experience, becomes a part of your knowledge. But that is just one thing. You can get experience as long you trying new things, doing something. But what I'm referring to learning here is never stop learning from books, from people. Continuously seek out knowledge. If you want to be able to do more, achieve more, deliver at a much higher level, you need to continuously improve yourself. This is part of a personal development or self-development. Learning is two ways to learn. One is just by doing, experimenting, trial and error. Another way is you learn from somebody already gained a lot of experience in the industry. So you learn from it, and then you transfer to your own experience.
Learn from the industry expert, and then practice.
Only then you can, because when you learn from somebody, that is their experience. If you want to turn it into your experience, you got to do what you have learned. This is something I personally do to overcome obstacles. Just now I mentioned that the negative things, like what makes it so memorable, the obstacles, the challenges I faced. I did not actually mention what is that moment, but I just sort of generalized that that is what I felt lacking, and that is one of the obstacles in my entrepreneurship journey. What you will face in the real world, or maybe I share my story a little bit here.
Yeah, why not? Go ahead.
A lot of times the things we do in the creative world, we do a lot of things for the first time. We like to try new things. And when you say you try new things, means that thing has no track record, no history. Therefore, how can you ask somebody to try something that is completely new? No one has done it before. How do you sell that? People generally will feel that there's no track record. I don't know if it works or not. It's too big risk for me to say yes to it. So as a creative person, if the other person say no to it, how can you then do what you want to do? This is why the communication part, the marketing part, the negotiation part is so important. Because without that, you really can't do what you're passionate about. Because at the end of the day, you really got to convince the other person to buy your idea. If they don't buy your idea, you just basically on your own. You're on your own. Nobody's going to fund your project. No matter how big of an idea you have, nobody is going to support you because they don't believe it's going to work.
Coming back, so I mean, we heard about what Voon Fei say, right? So we have to learn from the expert or to keep doing and doing and doing. Any other tips when it comes to overcoming obstacles, or how do we negotiate with client, or how do you show value? So any other tips that you feel like that is something that we can convey to the audience such that they can communicate out their value to the customers?
This is something new. Okay, nobody has heard it before. I learned that generally people are motivated by fear. The reason people say no to you, most likely the risk is too high. They're not willing to take a step forward because the risk is just too much for them, too many to lose. It's not about how much value you or what techniques you. At the end of the day, you want to make the other person feel that it is not that risky. It's not about how great the thing is. It's not that risky.
Right. So in a way, letting them know it's safe.
It's safe. You want them to try something. It's sometimes you say no matter how great this has so many features, this is gonna make you this and that. Sometimes it doesn't work. You have to understand fundamentally people are motivated by fear. So if this greatness has very little risk, I'll try it. If this greatness has a very high risk, I will not try it. So let's talk about not even greatness. Let's say this thing is just moderate or subpar, a normal level. But if you presented it in such a way that is very risky, nobody's gonna buy it.
Very good tip, because immediately I can actually use in my business.
Yes, because this is very recent, like I said.
Exactly.
This is reality, okay? Human nature is like this.
Right. So just want to comfort them that okay, it's safe. You can go ahead. Right. So reduce the idea of risk taking. Okay, I think we have a lot of questions from our children here. So I'd like Voon Fei to answer one at a time. So let's start with this.
Given the updated technology nowadays, how fast do you think we as children can catch up to you?
To be honest, if you want to catch up to me, it may be tough because we all are continuously moving forward. Like I always believe continuous learning. Not to say it's impossible, but what I would like you to think instead is don't always compare yourself with somebody. Do it at your own pace. Race against yourself. If you like to use me as somebody to chase after, that's fine. You can always imagine somebody in front of you. I want you to reprogram your mind a little bit. Race against yourself. Maybe imagine a better version of yourself in front of you. And you're looking that future you and
I
chase
like that. I like that.
That you control your own pace. You always know what's the next step to reach the person in front of you. And that person is you.
Okay, this is the next question that we have.
If I didn't score all A's but still wish to do what you're doing, what advices can you give me?
My answer to this is very simple. I didn't score all A's as well. If you truly love what you're doing, just go for it. You really don't need to score all A's to do what you love. In fact, if you really love what you do, you will do whatever it takes. You should do whatever it takes to get there.
Love it. Love it. Simple, clear cut, and explain it all. Okay, next question.
Is this your dream career? Would you prefer other industry or work?
It is my dream career. This is something that I have since young and I managed to stay on. That would be my first answer to your question. My second answer to a second question would be, would I prefer other things? I really don't know. I mean, my character is like I like to explore. I think over time I will still try new things. I really do not know. I keep myself have a very open mind. I think it's very good to have a very open mind in accepting new things. Again, passion doesn't change that easily. So if you have found what you love, you will stay for as long as you can.
Okay, next question.
What do you do when you get negative feedbacks from customers?
So what happens when something a customer made you feel negative? I think it's not just customer. I think all of many times we will get the negative feelings. It's inevitable. So I think what you do is you gotta embrace your emotion of yours and just think there's always two sides in everything. You know, like coins, there's always front, there's always back. In order to, you know, get rid of that negative thought, sometimes you just got to see the other side. Just try to see what's on the other side. I receive a lot of negative thoughts from other people. I generally myself, I got over the negative feeling very quickly, but I still do hear a lot of negative emotion from other people. And when I do hear that, I always see that as an opportunity.
So see it as an opportunity.
So every negative thing you can always see as an opportunity, because this thing I learned from a guru. He says whatever goes down will go up, whatever goes up will come down eventually. Meaning there's always ups and downs in life. It's inevitable. It's just a matter of now that you're down, see it as an opportunity to go up.
We have next question from Zheng Kai.
How young were you when you decided to specialize in this industry?
I would say I've been in the same industry since forever. Like within the industry, there are many different things I've tried. You have heard I've tried design, graphic design, I've tried web, and they all falls within the industry. What I'm specialized right now is more towards strategy, the thinking part. So I've moved from the person doing with hands to a person thinking with their head. So this is where I specialize right now. Most of the works that I do just requires me to think. So when I started this, I think while I'm in the industry, I realized that there's better way for me to provide values to the people I serve. You know, I always strive to deliver more. And how can I deliver more? Is when I realize that I can actually deliver more with my brain than with my hands. That is slowly where I slowly transition towards where I am today.
So it's easier in terms of for you to strategize instead of working it.
It's not an easy way out. It's just that I want you all to perhaps learn from this, that you got to find where you can provide where you can make the most impact.
Right. So provide the most value. Right. Good one. Okay. We have another question from Zheng Kai as well.
How do you provide your companies and customers with limited resources?
Maybe I rephrase a little bit. So with limited resources, how can you provide value to both your company and also your customers?
Limited resources can also be an advantage. Then you just do whatever you have for the right people. You know, not every people need a basket of fruit. Sometimes that person may just need an apple. So with limited resources, you can also deliver to the right people. That's one way to look at it. Another way is that if you feel that you have limited resources, then find more resources. So you don't have to do everything yourself. Like I said, you can always leverage on people. You know, maybe another person have an orange, another person have a watermelon.
Yep.
Come together and you have a basket of fruits.
Good idea.
So that's
so
why there are many ways to look at it. Whatever you do, just be creative and innovate. You'll find a way.
Yeah. And I always believe with limited resources actually will make you more creative. You have to figure out how to work with what you have, right? So you have to trade with people, or you have to find more resources. So there are a lot of ways for you to figure it out, and that is when you get creative.
Exactly.
Right. More questions from Zheng Quan. Let's see.
May I know what made you choose this industry?
Something inside you will burn so hard that you know this is the right one. You may not have that feeling right now, but you know it when it happens, because
yes. I agree so much. I resonate with this.
right now you don't feel that fire inside you. Well, just keep exploring. You're at the age where you have the time and energy to explore.
Yes.
So what I would advise you, if you don't have that fire yet, is to don't stop seeking out, trying new things. Only then you can find that passion, that fire inside you, and ignite it.
So don't stop exploring, keep trying, and you'll figure out when you're there. Okay, last question. This is from Zheng Quan.
How can you manage so many companies and business at once?
You will know it when you're able to handle more things. I think what I want to say here is don't be ambitious and try to manage many companies right now. Maybe where you're at right now is not capable. Regardless of what advice I gave you, you are just perhaps incapable to manage multiple companies. It takes time. It takes time, experience, and lots of knowledge to do so. So take it one step at a time. Maybe today you can manage one. You will know when you can take on the second one, and you will know when you can take on the third one. And so to answer you, how can I manage that? It's just
one step at a time.
One step at a time. You get there when you need to and have to.
Okay, so I mean we've done with all the questions, but I do have my own question, right? So what would be your advice to all our listeners and audience, especially our young audience here?
I'm not sure if I answered this before, but my advice today would be to don't start a business because you want to make money. Start a business because you knew that there's a problem to be solved. There's that you need to make a difference. There's a gap in the market that you really need to fill in that gap. Do that, you realize that you'll be able to achieve more.
Wow. Seriously, when you answer that, you're giving me goosebumps. Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you so much, Voon Fei, for today. Maybe we can get any last words from you that you want to share?
Since this is a channel for future entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs to be, I would say be humble always and keep hustling would be my really last words of today's session. So I think when you found your passion, I don't think there's anything that can stop you. No? You don't need all the A's. Continue to pursue what you love. And what's great is that when I found out Wan Xin is doing exactly what those things that I've just said, Wan Xin is already doing it. So I'm very, I would say, fortunate, and I'm very glad to have known her, because that is actually what I preach. She's actually doing what I preach. I see this platform as a future. I know children has a lot of potential. Like I was once a child, and if I didn't have that kind of journey, if I knew this kind of platform back then, I probably would have accelerated way faster. Yeah, I think what you're doing is great. So when you ask me to come on board and do today's video, I just like, yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Wow, awesome. Thank you so much, Voon Fei, for being in our show. So welcome, and feel free to ask Voon Fei anything. We have his Facebook page in our comments, and hope to see you in the next show. All right.
Cool. See you.